What is up, guys? Delboy here. So I wanted to share my initial thoughts on the rumoured Wladimir Klitschko versus Dillian Whyte fight. Now, this fight hasn't been confirmed, it is just rumours at this point. Essentially, Dillian Whyte was hoping to fight Anthony Joshua on April the 13th at Wembley Stadium. However, now it is looking likely that Anthony Joshua will be making his US debut against Jarrell Miller. That, of course, leaves Dillian Whyte without an opponent. Apparently, Dillian Whyte has actually been offered the Anthony Joshua fight at Wembley, but according to Dillian Whyte, it was a lowball offer and a similar amount to what he earned for fighting Derek Chisora in the rematch. So he's saying he's being lowballed by Joshua, and it looks like Joshua and his team are going to pursue the Jarrell Miller fight. And this would leave, obviously, Dillian Whyte without an opponent. And rumours have surfaced this week of Wladimir Klitschko versus Dillian Whyte on April the 13th at Wembley. I've got to say, I find this a very interesting story for a bunch of reasons. The first being, would this fight actually fill out Wembley Stadium? I think the fight would do well. Dillian Whyte has built a fan base in the UK. Since that first Joshua fight back in 2015, he has come on leaps and bounds, and now he is one of the more recognisable names in UK boxing, and he does do decent pay-per-view numbers. So Dillian Whyte's fan base and profile has grown substantially in the past 2 to 3 years, and combining that with Wladimir Klitschko's reputation, I think the fight would do well. Despite Klitschko being 43 years old, I do think it would do good numbers. Whether it sells out Wembley or not, I don't know, but I think it does well. As for the fight itself, it does hold a level of intrigue, mainly because of the style of Wladimir Klitschko. We know Wladimir Klitschko is past his best, he is 43 years old like I said, and if this fight were to happen, he would have been out the ring for 2 years and actually been in retirement as well. So Wladimir has passed his best, he's seen better days, but stylistically, to me, he's all wrong for Dillian Whyte. It just really hinges on what Wladimir Klitschko has left in the tank. If it's the same Wladimir Klitschko who fought Anthony Joshua, I would pick Klitschko to knock out Dillian Whyte in a heartbeat. I would be really confident in that pick, but as I said, Wladimir has been out of the ring for 2 years, he's 43 years old. How much has he deteriorated since that Joshua fight back in April 2017? That is the question. If he's not deteriorated at all, and he's still the same guy, I would pick Klitschko to win. If he is slightly worse than that fight, maybe like 10% worse, I would probably still pick Klitschko to win that fight. But it's just impossible to gauge what Klitschko has left. Even, when you see Klitschko working out, like he released a sparring clip a few months ago, he looked sharp, he looked good, he looked fit, but you can't really gauge from that what he has left. You can't gauge what he has left from a 2-minute video of him hitting the bag. You only really know when he's in the ring against a live body, and it's impossible to know what Wladimir has left. And that is the thing that puts me off about this fight. You just don't know what Vlad has left. Now, if I were to have a guess on what Wladimir has left, I would say he could probably still beat some guys in the top 10 right now. But that is a guess basically based on not much, just based on Wladimir always keeping himself in shape, based on Wladimir having a style when he was fighting of not taking much damage. He never really picked up a crazy amount of wear and tear. So maybe Wladimir does have something left in the tank, and not only that, heavyweights, as we know, tend to be more able to go on and fight in their 40s. We see guys like Vitaly Klitschko and George Foreman, for example. These guys were fighting in their 40s. Archie Moore is another example. Historically, heavyweights fighting in their 40s isn't a irregular occurrence, and heavyweights doing well in their 40s isn't an irregular occurrence. So maybe Wladimir can do something still, but it's just impossible to say what he has left. Purely from a boxing standpoint, I think Wladimir's style is horrible for Dillian Whyte, to be quite honest. Dillian Whyte, to me, has always been pretty poor at gauging distance and managing range, and against a guy like Wladimir Klitschko, that is going to get your head jabbed off and it's going to get you outboxed. And as the fight wears on, as you get more desperate, that is when you run the risk of getting caught with Wladimir's right hand or left hook. Dillian Whyte isn't good at managing range. That is partly the reason why Dillian Whyte falls short with his right hand so much, because he's not in punching range at all. And you'll see Dillian Whyte really fall short with that right hand. And doing that against Wladimir Klitschko could end up in you getting knocked out. I think Dillian Whyte has improved at his judge of distance, but it's still not great. He can do it against guys like Derek Chisora, plodders who come forward and don't really offer much variety. But against a guy like Wladimir Klitschko, whose bread and butter is managing range, popping the jab, keeping you at distance and keeping you behind his right hand and looking for openings, that is when Dillian Whyte's boxing IQ and lack of ability to control the range will get exposed. I'm also not convinced of his ability to close the range and get on the inside. When Dillian Whyte is on the inside, he's not bad. He works the body well. He shows good variety in his punches. When he's on the inside, he's quite good. He's better than most heavyweights, to be honest. But it's getting there. Can Dillian get on the inside against a guy like Wladimir Klitschko? Can Dillian get past that jab? Potentially. If Wladimir's feet are gone and he can't move like he used to move, then there's a good chance he will. But if Wladimir still has that bounce in his step and he can still move to a good standard, then I think Dillian will really struggle to get on that inside. If Dillian was to get on the inside against Vlad, I think he can have success. Dillian mentioned that in sparring, when he actually got up close to Wladimir Klitschko and worked the body, Wladimir didn't like it. He didn't like body shots. That's what Dillian Whyte said. That's what he picked up from sparring. So maybe if Dillian could get on the inside and work that body, maybe that would be an avenue for success, especially against a guy who is 43 years old, a guy whose gas tank may not be what it was, against a guy whose body may not be as strong as it once was. So maybe the Dillian Whyte body attack could be a big weapon for him. But in terms of an actual boxing match, when it's at range, because Dillian these days does like to box at range a lot more, if he boxes at range with Wladimir, I think he will have a lot of problems, to be quite honest. And he won't win a boxing match with Wladimir Klitschko. Even now, I don't think he will. At this stage, it's just whether Wladimir can box for a 12-round fight and whether he can keep up with younger opponents. So it's a weird one because stylistically it really intrigues me. But, you know, in a situation like this, you just don't know what a guy like Wladimir Klitschko has left at 43 years old. So would I want to see this fight? First and foremost, would I be mad if this fight got made? Not really. But on the flip side, do I want to see Wladimir Klitschko put a dampener on his legacy by losing to a guy who, let's be honest, he would have knocked out in his prime? Not really either, to be honest. So I'm kind of lukewarm on the fight. I've got mixed emotions about it. We'll see what happens, but it does pose some interesting questions in my opinion. Share your thoughts below on this fight. Even now, could Wladimir Klitschko beat Dillian Whyte? I think he could, but that's just me assuming Wladimir Klitschko has something left, and I could be wrong about that. So share your thoughts below. Peace.